Missing
Thank
Kim.
you. I was about to.
Not
John.
Is Kim not coming?
Kim's here.
Kim's
I
here.
thought.
Oh, where? Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Okay.
Okay. Um, right then. So this is our second joint Board of Selectmen, Board of Finance meeting for February 25th. We're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. It's 6:02 p.m.
Yeah.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
United
and to
States
the
of
republic for
America,
which
and to
it
the republic
stands,
stands
one
one
nation,
nation, under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
for all.
Okay, thank you. So we will start with public speak. I'll go around real quick. Um, Members of the public that are on. We've got Joanne Hebert.
Hey Rob, just listening. Thank you.
No problemo. Oh, and we have Nick now. That's good. Um, Dennis, I see that you're on.
Yes.
I don't know if you count as a member of the public exactly, but
Well, probably a member of the public, yeah, among many other things, Rob. But I'm also the town attorney, of course.
Yes, that's what I was referring to. So, do you have any public comment?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I was, I attended your meeting last week, and I did say in a letter that I wrote to, all three boards, including and the superintendent of schools, and yeah, well, Jeff is a member of the Board of Selectmen, that I plan to come this week and talk a little bit about what I've been saying about how the Board of Finance should be handling the education budget. And I am convinced beyond a doubt, after researching it, considering my experience with several towns, I have never heard of a Board of Finance just passing the education budget on to town meeting. And I don't believe that. I'm not saying that you have to cut it. I'm saying that you can cut it. You can adjust it. You can adjust it upward. But to just pass it down, I mean, you have in the past always voted, but you voted at times to just adopt whatever the Board of Education suggested. I'm just saying to you that you have the authority to cut the education budget before it goes to town meeting. You are a guardrail. You are experts on finance, relatively speaking, to the rest of the town. The statute that covers, if you didn't have a charter, you would be governed by 7-344. And that because you have a unitary budget. It starts out that way. You can bifurcate it if something goes wrong, but it starts out as a unitary budget. Unitary budget is governed by 802F. You cited 802E, Rob, when you decided that that statute applies. I mean, that provision applies to the public hearing. You can send you are to send the budget of the Board of Education to public hearing, which is required. It's required to have a public hearing. You know that. You can send that intact. You don't have to. In fact, you're required by the charter to send it intact, to not touch it. But once the public hearing is over, you then, need to send it to town meeting. And when you send it to town meeting, you have the option to vote for it as is, up or down. That's all I'm saying. I've said it now in 13 pages in three separate letters in several different ways. But it is my opinion that if it ever, and hopefully it will never happen, where you have a dispute between agencies that ends up in court, because it does happen in other towns, not over things like this. I don't know of any judge that would ever rule in favor of you saying that you cannot cut the Board of Education budget. One of the roles that you have as a Board of Finance is to decide among competing interests for the town, and you need to have a level playing field. And if you feel you cannot adjust the Board of Education budget, say downward, for example, but you do adjust the town hall budget downward, that's not a fair playing field. And the statute, if you look at the Section 802 of the charter. It's a progression. It starts out with back in the fall where you have these discussions about the budgets, and then it goes well, bing, 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 all the way down to E and F. And you relied on E. E is for the public hearing. F is what you do when you put the budget to the town meeting, and that is it's up to you what to do with it. You can cut it, you can raise it, you can keep it the same. But I heard Mark, your former chairman, last year. I was sitting at the town meeting, and when I heard him say that, I was like stunned that you did not have to act on the budget. Well, you have to act on, and you always have acted on it, but you need to know that you can act on it, and you can increase it or you can cut it before you send it to the town meeting. That is the way it's done in every town I've ever been in, and I've been in a lot of them. And it makes sense because that is what the law requires. And because you have a charter, you can have your own system, but and you could do that, but you don't. The language of your charter in section 802F requires you or allows you, doesn't require you, but it allows you to cut the education budget before it goes to town meeting, or to increase it or leave it the same. But you have that option. It is not an automatic, oh, we pass this budget on to the town meeting just as it comes from the BOE. That's when you play your role as the guardrail, and that's what 7-344, which is the law governing all towns that don't have charters, require. And also in your charter, and the language is not as clear as I'd like it to be. I didn't write it. It's been in there for ages, and I've been with the town for more than 22, 23 years. We've made a lot of changes to the charter at the request of charter revision commissions, but that one never came up. And it's probably something where the language ought to be clarified. But after going over it and reading it and comparing it to state law, in my experience, I am convinced absolutely that section of the charter 802 ends with a reference to town meeting, and you can act on both budgets or all budgets that come before you, up or down, make recommendations. And once it gets to town meeting, you've set the ceiling on the budgets. Okay, they can't, and that's in the statute, and it's also in your charter. The town meeting cannot raise, as you know, cannot raise the amount they can't cut. And you know it happened last year when you in a different under a different section of the charter, albeit, and that was after the budget failed. The referendum came back to you, and a motion was made to cut the increase for the Board of Education from 8% to 5%, and it passed. And then it passed. I assume I didn't follow it all the way, but I think it passed that referendum. So yes, it did. So so you got the 5% increase, and that is it as far as I'm concerned. And I've read the opinion from the attorney for the Board of Education. I just totally disagree with it. I've written a response to it. It's very short. It didn't have to be long. So I'm going to stop now. I think I've said what I need to say, unless you have any questions.
No, I can only note that we have dueling legal opinions in front of us. Beyond that, I'm very clear on your position, Dennis.
Thank you, sir. And thank you for the time, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak, and for everybody's giving me the attention. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Does anybody see any member of the public that I've missed? I don't see anyone on the list. I think that was it.
That's all I see.
Okay.
Unless
So we will
Lisa
move on
wants
to our
speak.
workshop. Now, I don't know
Doesn't-
if all of you have, seen the latest emails that have come around. In fact, I need to double check that it went to everybody, but I finally do have a preliminary budget spreadsheet from the treasurer, which is helpful. So thank you for that, Lisa. I really appreciate it. Though right now it's got the older RAM number in there. I caught that when I saw it. We only just recently, I think today, got the updated levy number sorted out. It was either yesterday or today. So that has to be changed, obviously, and everyone should understand that that spreadsheet is preliminary and work in progress, etc. So if anybody didn't get it, let me just double check here. The Excel spreadsheet went to, I think, all of us. So I shouldn't need to email it around again, but if somebody doesn't have it, let me know. So we have that to look at, which is great. So I guess my thought is one of the other pieces of information that I have asked for that's kind of out there is I'd like to know what are in our fund balances now, all the various town funds, so that when we look at capital and things like that, we know where we're starting from. So that's another info request that's out there. But I guess my gut here is I'd also like to hear from the Board of Selectmen members a little bit. I don't feel like we got into it very much last meeting on what their vision is for the town operations budget, the town capital budgets that we have in front of us to review. Kind of maybe just the high points would be helpful to walk us through it. Obviously, right now, if I'm reading the spreadsheet correctly, we're looking at on the town side, the ops budget of 4.3% increase for various reasons. And I did not have a chance to go line by line. I scrolled through it pretty quickly, only having gotten it a couple hours ago. So oh, hi, Ann.
I don't see the Excel version yet in my emails. Did it come to the Board of Selectmen?
Let me double check. No, it's to the Board of Finance members and Jeff's CC'd, but none of the other Board of Selectmen members have it. So I can send that around.
That'd be great. Thank you.
No, I'm just going to tell you, with everything that's happened in town with the weather and all of the transactions that Lisa and I have been trying to deal with, the Board of Selectmen hasn't even had a meeting. So to be really honest, this has to sit there and get in front of the Board of Selectmen. So Anne is not wrong that she hasn't received it. I've been working with Lisa to sit there and build a summary of all of the positions within town to tie it to our payroll. And it's been slightly difficult in that there's no remote access into the information that is available. So everything has to be done by getting to the town hall, and with the weather and everything else that happened, it got a little bit of a problem. So to be really honest, the Board of Finance is going to have to sit there and take that document as preliminary again until the Board of Selectmen can get together and meet. So
Okay. And I fully understand all of that. That's totally understandable. Obviously, you know what I'm looking at. I'm looking at the days ticking away and the calendar that we have and the schedule that we have.
Well, in my head, Rob, if we can get the personnel side of this taken care of, that'll take that from the town side will take an account for about 55 to 60% of the total budget. And then we'll be looking at the capital side of it, which will take up the other 40% of it. And then you just have a small fraction in the middle that we'll sit there and deal with. So, you really have about 55% in salaries, probably about another 30% in capital, and then the rest will be the small isolated items. But as far as the employees go and the non-union employees, the Board of Selectmen needs to sit there and get together and vote as to what increases we want to sit there and see for those positions. So I apologize, but it's just something that with the transition. So Jim, who's on here, everybody might as well say thank you and goodbye to Jim, because he's done on Thursday. So that position is going to be open. I will sit there and do what I can in my time to sit there and handle that spot until the Board of Selectmen sits there and makes a decision as to what they're doing with the town administrator. So when they decide what they're doing there, we'll sit there and have someone else come into that chair. But what I plan to do with Lisa is sit there and work with her. Lisa's, like I said, the last meeting, Lisa's great. She was in over the weekend. she hasn't got her laptop from the IT company. She can't sit there and work from home. So she's got to be where she's at right now in the office so that she can sit there and answer any of your questions and have access into the accounting system. And we will sit there and get it done, and you guys will get the right information so that you can make decisions for the budget.
Okay,
Jeff?
hope so. Go ahead.
Is there any way that Jim can be extended?
Jim's moving to North Carolina, but Jim can answer that one.
Jim,
I've already actually moved to North Carolina. I went down there on the 7th and then came back up to kind of close up shop up here and then finish the month for you guys.
Okay. Congratulations.
I do have to thank Jim. He's done a very good job representing the town. I wish he did a better job on our budget, but I won't take him to account for that, right?
That's right.
thank you, Jim. We're going to miss you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Where are we in the process of replacement?
You're going to have to ask one of the other selectmen.
Okay.
Meeting on
Consider-
Friday with 2 more interviews. And after that, we may have something.
Okay. All right. So in progress, but not imminent. In terms of the preliminary budget, one of the things I wanted to ask about, and obviously other members of the Board of Finance, by all means pipe up. I don't, I'm not the only one to ask questions here, but how are we feeling on the revenue side about the projections there? Have those been really looked at, or are we just kind of plugging in last year's numbers for the most part? I see there's a small bump, but is the ECS grant money that's in there, is that likely to be the real number, or is that maybe low? I think that looks just like last year's number.
They haven't raised that number, which is
Okay.
one of our problems. They haven't raised the rate since 2013. It's a problem for the states. It's a problem for a small town like ours because we're not getting any additional assistance from the state with all the mandates that they're requiring. So that number, which is our biggest outside number, I don't expect it to change. One of the numbers that Lisa and I were talking about today is interest. The interest number that's on there is probably going to decrease. We have to sit there and make some adjustments to that. And we have to sit there and see how we can improve that number, if at all possible, down the road. So
that's for basically the stiff account.
Yeah, stiff account.
Mm-hmm.
Not just for you guys, for all your understanding, trying to get access to all these with the limited with the previous treasurer limiting her access to us and her assistance to us has been difficult. So we're still trying to sit there and get the Lisa access to that. It hasn't been easy.
Okay. Well, I don't know if any of the members of my board have really had a chance to look at this thing. I have, as I said, only really had a chance to glance through it, kind of scan over it, look for any particularly eye-popping, spots. A lot of this is kind of mandated 3% raises.
And that number has not been approved by the Board of Selectmen. That number is really consistent with the union contracts that we have out there. That my goal is, as discussions with the treasurer were today, is to get you all of those contracts and everything related to the employee compensation that we have, so that you guys, all the board members, can have all of the contracts. So the previous contract from the administrator, the union contract, so you can follow along with what those raises, the increases in the compensation are. So.
Okay. Tax revenue appears to be plugged in just our last year's number. I would expect that to change a little bit, right? I mean, it creeps up here and there if we have houses built in town or whatnot, right? Changes the grand list.
Supposedly the assessor got our filings completed, and we will at least have an understanding of what the grand list is supposed to be. So that's coming next week.
Next week. Okay.
At least I hope so.
Okay.
I mean, Jim, that was what your understanding was, correct? Just so I'm clear. That was the email that you received before we left the office?
It would be filed tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay.
Were there any decisions or changes made to staffing that will affect the budget at all?
Well, from my perspective, the only thing, Liz, that we really need to deal with is honestly the community center. So the Board of Selectmen needs to decide what they're going to do with contracts that are currently outstanding at the community center and what type of staffing levels that we're going to have there.
Can I just add, I thought we were going to discuss adding a 20-hour per week admin assistant for the incoming town administrator
Yes.
for continuity in that office. We did discuss that, and we were going to discuss it on January 29th, but we never did have the meeting. And then the meeting on February 4th was also canceled. So maybe we can set up a meeting for this coming week so that we don't hinder the Board of Finance with the dates and everything defined by our charter.
Sure. And on that current document that you have, Rob,
Yeah, I
there's
see it.
there's $15,000
Yeah.
in for the administrative assistant, and plus there's another $15,000 in there for a project manager.
I see those.
So those might be consolidated in as to what Carol is discussing. They've been left there because as placeholders. But yeah, we probably do need to have a meeting. We're probably not going to have it this week because I know there's another meeting on the agenda for Friday, and we'll have to figure out when the Board of Selectmen can actually get together.
That would be helpful. Just so you all are aware, and you probably already know this, but I'll run through it real quick. On the 4th, our next budget workshop meeting, we will have presentations by the fire department and by AES. And then on the 11th, we have, I believe, Public Works coming in. So, and then we have the 18th, and then we have the 25th, and April 1st is the hearing. So that's our time frame.
Can you say that again? From
Sorry.
3/18. Yeah, can you repeat?
I think we just meet weekly throughout March, the 4th, the 11th, the 18th, and the 25th. Yeah. And then
Please make sure you get together with Kate because I had looked at that. There's nothing on the calendar, the town calendar on the 4th.
for the 4th, I emailed her literally tonight. I caught somebody caught that, texted me, and I emailed her right away to say, no, we're having a special budget workshop meeting that night. Can we get it on the calendar?
Could we
No
meet
problem.
on Monday night, Jeff? If everyone is available, that would put us that much further ahead, please.
I would ask, and this is something that we need to talk about, but later in the week, because I still don't. I am planning on being in that office tomorrow, dealing with Jim to get everything situated for his departure, and then I need to get some access to some other things, Carol, to be able to produce what I need done. So Monday might be too soon, is what I'm saying. So today's Wednesday. Let me find out tomorrow, Carol. I'll actually sit there and text the group. Maybe I can sit there and get it done tomorrow.
I'm just saying, rather than hinder the Board of Finance, because again, they're under
Oh,
some
listen, we're hindering the
stressful
Board of Finance.
timelines. I know, we're hindering a lot. So we really need to move forward with this, please.
You love us, so we're good.
No, I don't think they're going to love us if we continue doing things like this. I don't think anybody's going to love us. So,
But
let's try.
You do what you can, try your best, try to, you know what our schedule is, you know what the time frames
Yes.
are. I'm not trying to berate anybody. I know exactly how discombobulated everything is. But I just bring it up because it's the obvious thing. So there's not a lot in the way of clarity. I mean, typically with the Board of Finance in the past, we've tried to do once we have this spreadsheet in what we think is reasonable shape, we usually try to take 2 meetings of ours where the entire time is spent just going through it line by line. And typically in the past, of course, with the town administrator there to help us with questions. Obviously, that's not looking like how it's going to go. But in the past, we've discovered that if we tried to do the whole document in one night, we were on a meeting until 11:30 p.m. and we were all fried, and it wasn't actually very productive. So I am open, depending on how this all comes together. We'll have to talk about this on the 4th and/or 11th as to whether or not, guys, we want to try to put together another special workshop on like a Thursday or something to stick another meeting in there later in March. So just think about that. Just think about like what your availability is, what dates might work best for you. Thursdays tend to work for me. Other days of the week other than Wednesdays get harder, but I'm not going to rule them out. If we have to do it, we have to do it because either we hit the deadline or we don't. It's in the charter. We're bound by that. So, okay. So, without belaboring that, if any of our board members has, questions or concerns about what we've been given so far in terms of our preliminary projection, by all means, pipe up. Not a lot here's jumping out. Jeff's already kind of addressed the fact that the staffing at the community center is one of the things that's in flux. And then Carol brought up, the assistant to the administrator, and obviously with the administrator position itself that is being bumped up in this preliminarily at least. But there's a lot here that's just it's not stuff we can really dig into because it hasn't really been decided yet. This is just a first pass. Okay. I admit I'm a little unsure as to what we can productively discuss then further in this joint meeting. If we don't have, the Board of Selectmen simply hasn't had the chance to make some of these critical decisions.
Without the payroll summary, the staffing summary, you guys have you can go through certain items here and well, let's actually talk about what we can do. So out of the departments that are in that report,
Mhm.
right, who do you have appointments scheduled with? Like from
Fire
other
and Public
boards and
Works.
committees? Yeah.
Fire, Public Works, and AES. And we already had RAM.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember in the past whether we, every single department came in regardless of size. I know we always did Fire and Public Works.
Yeah.
Um,
So I've been going through it. So you have, and this is, Lisa, have you provided them the information like from the registrar's office? You're on mute. You're on mute. You're on mute. Lisa,
the
you're on mute.
registrars.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I see a registrar's document she sent today.
Okay. So like there's certain groups that have come back to the treasurer. So the registrars was one. The resident state trooper is another. Animal control, we can talk about and go through some of this information to, they're external groups. It's like that secondary stuff that's out there. And then you guys can take the data and then ask the questions and we can go back to the groups and get it done. So in my view, the Board of Assessment Appeals, it's tiny, but they have actually provided the treasurer with information. And I don't know if you want to have them on it. Like one of the things Lisa was bringing up as a recommendation was that in the future, we just sit there and have these all scheduled out in advance on an agenda, on a list They're showing up for your board and they're doing these presentations for you on a given day. No more waiting around. And listen, the whole thing in my head that's really been the problem is that Eric was in the chair all day, all along, fighting through these numbers, giving you guys every piece of information you wanted, and we're at a slight disadvantage trying to circle back into this. So we'll do it. And Lisa, I don't know if you sent out to the Board of Finance members or just to Rob the data that you had collected from those groups.
I did send out the 8 that we took copies of and labeled. So
Okay.
those of
Yep.
them, those did go out to the Board of Finance today.
Okay.
Yep,
Right.
I've got MRF, registrars, assessment appeals, CROG, State Trooper, Animal Control, Eastern Highlands Health, and AHM.
Yeah. And so each one of those, like the state trooper is, a budget request of $163,816. There's nothing we can really do on that line item other than get a cheaper resident state trooper, which I don't necessarily know that we can, and we have no authority over what happens at that position. So they've provided that data, and then if you go up, there's information that we got from CROG that goes into line 4177, but we haven't gotten the CCM cost update or the cost update for there's 2 different organizations that we belong to. So that number is down, but that number is down just because we've only gotten one of the 3 organizations. Insurance, the employee benefits, most of the employee benefits line under 4117 will come through when we sit there. And I have the ability to work with Lisa to get the payroll summary in front of the Board of Selectmen. Board of Selectmen determines the increases. And then all of these numbers, the Social Security, the unemployment comp, the health insurance, the longevity will all fall out from there. Lisa and I had a conversation today about how to get all the data and how to put it into an appropriate format for you guys to sit there and look at. And that, like I said, will take care of 55% of the total town operational expenditures, is payroll.
Lisa, I assume that you have to work off of an older version of the budget spreadsheet that we've used in past years. With
You
all
mean,
its tabs and it has tabs and you feed across and there's a tab for mill rate calculation. There's a tab for this. There's a tab for that. I assume you have one of those.
I did see a mill rate calculation in there. The problem that I saw, if it's the one I'm thinking of, is it's a QuickBooks format. And to me, I have no use for that, honestly.
I mean,
I'm
No,
not
there's-
sure if it's the one you're speaking of.
no, I can. I have one.
She has it. It was
She has
something that the 2 of us sat there and looked at, and we will sit there. What I was trying to do is assist to get a report to sit there and do all of the payroll stuff. The mill rate, we'll sit there and have a separate tab for you as we build this out. So it is not, the format that we're looking at now is something that Lisa brought, and it's a very valuable format as to how we look at it. The details you guys need in a different way. And I'm working with her to make sure that we get the details correctly organized for you. What she's really looking at is that spreadsheet. The data was kicked out of QuickBooks, put into Excel, and then put into that Excel format, Rob. That's all she's after. It's just a way to export data from QuickBooks.
Okay. You know what I'm talking about though, Jeff, right? Like
Mhm.
last year when the year before and the year before and the year before, we have the spreadsheet that the Board of Finance uses that, ultimately we use to bring the budget to hearing and whatnot. And it's got many tabs and, if it's going to be formatted slightly differently, that's okay. The reason I ask is right now what we have obviously lacks a bunch of that. And I just wanted to be sure that, Lisa had a comparison that she could look at. Here's how we've done it. If there's a reason to tweak it, okay. What I mean is, has she seen, say, last year's budget spreadsheet?
Well, who did the answer? The answer is, I believe that I actually sent that to her today, Rob, to be really honest. Right? So why she may not be, and I have to look to make sure that I did that.
Okay.
Um,
I just wanted to be sure. I have one, but it's older and it was a draft
yes.
last year from mid-March, and I don't trust it.
So Lisa, I sent it to you at 8:07 after I received it at 8:06. So,
This morning?
Okay.
this morning. So, the question that I have is, who is responsible for the PowerPoint? I'm assuming that that was you, Rob, right? That's you,
It's
right?
typically, last year Mark did it. I'm
Yeah.
gonna lean on some of my members of my board to help me with it. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's the Board of Finance Chair's job,
Yeah. So the
which I'll
budget.
need to get, by the way, a copy of an old one.
I think I have it. I
You
think
do?
I might have it.
You have it, Liz? Okay, because I'm not sure. I might have it too. I actually if I scroll
Yeah.
back in my emails, Mark sent it around at one point.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I probably do have it. You're right.
So,
So, but obviously, that's as much as that's good. That's down my priority list at the moment. But yes, that's something that's lurking in the background that we'll need to get done too.
yep.
So I'm thinking, maybe one thing we can concentrate on right now would be the AHM. The information that I sent out to everybody. I don't know if
Yes.
everybody had a chance. Okay.
I had no chance to look at. I'm sorry, Louise. Yeah, I just got it.
I get it. I get it. Okay. That's something maybe we can go ahead and maybe review it for the week on our own and then kind of come to a conclusion on it next week.
Sure. And I mean, you were there, right? So, I know you sent us the information, but you could always, give us a little liaison report if you want. We can do that
Chris?
now. We could do that in our regular meeting, 7:00. I don't care. The Board of Selectmen might want to hear it. It's fine. The highlights at least.
I just sent it to the Board of Finance because there's the way it's hard to send everything to everybody because it becomes a meeting per se. So, and Jeff, I didn't send that to you, unfortunately. But
Always include the treasurer on your emails.
oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, just so she has it. If it relates to the budget, I mean, because one of the things that we were discussing, and I'm sorry, Louisa, one of the things is you have the spreadsheet. The spreadsheet is fine, but the treasurer should be in control of the spreadsheet so that, when you guys make adjustments and changes, if you report to her and send her an email the next day, she can then make those updates within the spreadsheet so that you at least have some consistency and there's no confusion as to who has the right one. So.
okay. This is more of a presentation for everyone to review it's kind of the backup for, I feel that it's a good organization and I wanted everyone to kind of read through it and kind of determine on their own if they feel as well. And I sent out something just a little bit while ago, because that's when I got it, saying how many Andover participants have participated in it in the past 2 years. So if everyone could have a chance to look at that.
Did you get an answer on that question?
I did. I sent that to everybody probably half hour ago.
Yeah, I'm looking at it
Oh.
now. This is the whole number of people served by year,
Yeah, 'cause
24, 25.
asking for that. Would be asking for that. And it shows like 2000 in the last year before that was almost 2000, 1976.
Right.
The only other thing I want to bring up with that, if we want to talk about that, is in the presentation, I did ask about what options are available for AES, because as of right now, they're only using 1.5. They only have 1.5 days worth of a person there, where in fact, they could be using that facility. They could be using AHS a lot more, but they would have to set up an agreement between the two of them. And that money would be actually need to come out of the Board of Education budget. And I was thinking in lieu of, and after we listen to the presentation from AES, I won't know until that, in lieu of maybe some extra monies that are needed to go towards the AES budget, we can possibly do it using AHS instead. It's much cheaper.
Well, yeah, we don't know until we know what services they're able to provide, right? If
Right.
there's any services
Yeah.
that they can provide at a significant savings that,
And they have in the
And
past.
Yes.
and if that is also, meets the needs in
of
full,
AES.
right? Like, are you
Yeah.
saving? That's something definitely to ask the superintendent about.
Absolutely. That's
Um,
what I wanted to
I
share.
see that the spreadsheet we have for the town budget does appear to have the correct number in there for AHM, so that's good. I just
Mhm.
matched it up.
Anything that I have information for is in your spreadsheet already. Everything that I have received, every department that sent me all of their wishes, it's all in that Excel spreadsheet. It really hasn't changed since last week.
Right, except for the RAM number, which we
Right.
talked.
Right. Yep.
The RAM number that's in there is the old one.
Yep.
So I saved it to my drive and changed it, but I'll leave it to you to change the proper one.
Yep.
It's not it's a massive difference, but it's a drop, so that's nice.
What is the correct RAM number?
The total RAM levy
Yep.
this year is, one moment, let me scroll back up to it.
Yeah, and if you could say what line it's on, so we can follow
Yeah,
along.
I'm gonna get there. I scroll and then I
Oh, there
scroll
it
too
is.
far.
44.
RAM education's
44.
44. And the number that I have for the combined levy, so it's the ops budget plus the capital, is $4,255,542. And I confirmed that today with Colin.
Say that again? 4 million.
$4,255,542.
So it's a 2.9% increase now?
Yes.
Okay.
For our levy. Their
Right.
budget increase is 3.31, but yes.
Right. Yep.
Because we dropped a little bit in terms of our enrollment.
Yep.
Okay, so I see that number is not the same number as on this spreadsheet. Is that
Right. Lisa hadn't gotten it. I sent it to
Okay.
her. I realized it. I emailed her. She hadn't seen that. And I passed on what Colin had sent me.
And
So
I
she's got it now.
already sent you all the spreadsheet. So
okay? All right, that's fine. It's close anyway.
Yeah, it drops it. It drops a little bit.
That number we really can't debate, right? It is what
Well,
it is.
the town, I mean, it is what it is if it passes. The town has a referendum. The three towns have a referendum. And if it passes that, then yeah, we're locked in. But obviously anybody can have their say on that in the referendum. And the thing with the referendum is the votes are aggregated. So it's not like if two of the towns vote no and one town votes yes, it gets voted down. No, that's not the way it works. They consolidate all the votes. Andover could vote it down, but it doesn't mean that it's not going to pass. So in the past, we've seen that happen. So we take our chances with that.
Yeah.
Rob or Jeff, did we get an answer from RAM how many students are going in the next, what the enrollment is of all Andover students beginning next year?
I thought he had that in his
Thought I remembered.
I mean,
Someone saying
there's a sixth grade class obviously graduating, but I thought Colin's projections would have included, although maybe they were aggregated. They had, they were for the three towns, but he had his enrollment projections for us during his presentation, didn't he?
The information that he provided me today was 28 students.
28 total students from all classes?
From Andover,
From sixth grade?
No, just sixth grade going into seventh.
Jeff, clarify.
I'm just telling you, I just told you there's 26 students in sixth grade that are going to seventh.
26 or 28, sorry.
28, I'm sorry.
28.
The sixth grade. The enrollment projection form that was provided by AES to the superintendent of RAM shows 28. Now, I mean, this is where I have my problems, and I would have your board needs to actually ask these questions. They're using this NESDEC enrollment projection for 10 years out. And, you know, the PK number was 61, right? When this was given, it's now 67, but there are out-of-town students in these grades, and you got to find out the number, because you can't sit there and do this without understanding what's going to happen and who's out of town and who's in town. And this is being reported to the Colin, and I'd like to know. And not only that, I'd like to know if we as residents are paying for out-of-town students.
I mean, we keep going round and round on this, Jeff.
Mhm.
People are paying.
We have 67 or
hard.
16. We have 67 or I
Yeah.
thought it was either 67 or 69 total preschool kids.
Mhm.
We have like 9 out of towners, and I think there's 5 staff kids. So, and I think those are probably out of town too. I don't recall off the top of my head. So that'd be 14 out of 67 or 69. The numbers can fluctuate throughout the course of the year because people age in, people test in, etc. So I don't know what the state or whatever that projection system does vis-a-vis that. I also don't know that projecting out from pre-K all the way to 7th grade, accounting for that is even really anything resembling an exact science, right? It's always going to be a fuzzy projection that far out. I mean, we're not talking about one grade year going up. We're talking about pre-K.
Every 1%, Rob, on that costs our town $340,000. So RAM is expensive. There's no doubt about it. And so we as a group have to sit there and learn it. And so I just sit there and I go, if you believe that there's 14 out of towners and they're paying at a maximum $6,000 of tuition, you're not covering your costs.
You keep saying this, and then the superintendent keeps telling you that it's not so, and I don't know what to make of
Prove it to me. I'm asking you as a board, you guys have to get the proof. Because, Rob, just from a standpoint of a pre-K, a standard pre-K from a private business is going to be $12,000. You're charging $6,000.
All right. Well, I came here today to try to talk about the town budget. We can't really do it because we've got squat for information. And now I guess we're just going to fall back on talking about the pre-K again.
The question came up about how many people were going into 7th grade.
Yeah, I know. And we have the answer.
Yeah. And what I'm trying to tell you is the information being provided to RAM is including out-of-town students.
You're talking about a projection from pre-K onward. I mean, we're talking about next year. You're talking about something that's 7 years, 6-7 years.
Well, if you don't adjust your tuition, you're going to have a problem. So I want to adjust tuition.
Okay, that's at least clear.
So my concern about the fact that they use the NESDEC number is it's an aggregate number of pre-K through 6. And we know that our preschool is extra large because they've expanded it. So to use that number doesn't give RAM an accurate number to do its projections. So that's a concern for me. I mean, RAM has to do what they have to do. But if they're basing their projections on that number, it's not even accurate for them.
So let's think of it this way. Next year, or the next couple of years, all those pre-K kids will have shuffled up into kindergarten, right? So what's now pre-K, they'll be in K or
Not
1.
all of them. Not
all of them. That's just it. So
3-year-olds
because
won't.
the in-town kids will, for the most part, obviously,
In-town.
unless one gets outplaced, or I understand that. But I mean, all right, I hear you. And I guess I don't share the same worry about this, but I hear you.
So can I ask a question? So if there's 28 kids going into 7th grade now,
Mhm.
and there's approximately 53 Andover preschool kids now, right? If you take out the out-of-towners, is that
Mhm.
right?
Something like that. Yeah.
Something like that. So is RAM basing their budget off, they're basing it off of the 28, not the 53, right? Don't
Right.
they wait till it gets closer?
This is a discussion about the projection for 2030, whatever, the issue of the pre-K. When we're talking about the
So RAM
projection for next year, we're talking about that 28,
28, right?
which is a much firmer number either way because it's immediate. I mean, we don't know what the starting next year's kindergarten class by the time they get to 6th grade and then go to RAM would be. That's again, it's a guesstimate. I understand the issue with, how the numbers are fed in and crunched, but it's also like that's way down the road. And I'm not really sure when RAM budgets, they don't budget. They're never making a budget looking at what 2032 is going to be. They're talking about their next year. So
I
it's a
guess
little odd to
that's
me.
what I was, yeah, that's what I was asking.
A little odd to me. Apologies. I got some kids stopping in for a second. Guys, I'm on a meeting, okay? Yeah, no problem.
Kim, did you have something? Kim?
No, I'm all set. Thank you.
Okay, sorry about that. Um, well, again, we have AS on the 4th. Do we have anything further, or actually, given the time, what would be if we don't really have anything concrete we can do right now? My inclination would be to do public speak, do a motion to adjourn, shut the recording down, and everybody we relog in on with the next for the second meeting. For those of you who are going to attend the Board of Finance meeting, that is. Anybody have anything further they want to bring up before I go ahead and call for that? Going once, going twice. Okay. Public speak. Joanne, you got anything for us?
I really do, Rob. I'll make it really quick, but I think it's important after listening to this meeting. I just want to again commend the new treasurer for being present at every town meeting since she's come on board. I can't say enough how much we wanted that in the past, having been a Board of Finance member. And then having you be in control of the spreadsheet is so key because mistakes were made. It just makes sense. So bravo to you for being here and giving all your time. The other thing, I don't know, I just feel like I have to comment on this because a question was asked, and I don't feel like you all that are an important board got a really good answer. The undertaking, I believe in confidentiality, professionalism, the whole bit, so I won't slay that at all. But I think it's important that a really professional process has been in place to hire a new town administrator. The people that were chosen to be on that committee were really committed, gave a lot of time and effort. So I just don't think that came across. It kind of was sloshed over. So, it goes through its process, then it gets put in the hands of the Board of Selectmen, and then they'll do what they think is the best thing for the town. So, just know that everybody gave a lot of commitment. It wasn't, anything that wasn't full of integrity. Comments were made by the whole committee as they should be. And then, the people in charge of our town will make their decisions, which they should. The other thing is, because it hasn't been brought up and it keeps being said that Jim's leaving, which shouldn't be, which he's done such a great job. I've met him. Has anyone just thought of having him remain as a virtual town administrator for a while through email, through the way things are so virtual these days? Instead of going without a town administrator until the BOS comes to their decisions, possibly keep them on as virtual and through email, through phones and things of that nature. Thank you so much. Good luck with all you need to do.
Thanks, Joanne. I appreciate it. Okay, Dennis, did you have anything further? I think you've
No,
said what
I
you
think
had to
I
say.
made my point. As long as there was everybody that's here now was here when I spoke. I just want to make sure everybody is aware of the, I'm just trying to get, the process correct. I just, that's my job. I'm a lawyer sworn to uphold the law. I'm probably one of the biggest supporters of public education you're ever going to meet. I have worked on budgets for years here and all over the place. It isn't about that. With me, it's about doing things right, doing it correctly. And I believe that I'm right that you do have the authority to adjust the Board of Finance budget before it goes to town meeting. And, you're going to hear that from me again unless I change my mind, which so far doesn't look like it.
Well, yeah, I think I've read 3 or 4 things from you now on that point.
Okay. I've written enough, I think.
Um,
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Dennis. So I see something on here, Naturescape LLC. I'm sorry, I'm not sure who that is.
Marcy,
Oh, hi, Marcy.
Marcy.
Hi, yeah, sorry I got on late. I didn't know it said that. I thought it had my name on there. But anyway, yeah, I'm sorry I got on late. I feel like I missed a lot uh you were talking about the kids that are going into kindergarten, and the last number I got was 25. So I think that's pretty consistent with the numbers that we've had for the other grades.
Right.
So, and I
Thank
think
you.
also
Sorry.
in preschool, it's not just 2 years. I think some kids might be in that for 3 years.
It's more complicated than that. It's like they can age in at 2 years. Is it 2 years, 9 months?
2.9. Yeah.
2.9? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think they have they can be 3 in January.
Right.
And it used to be like that for kindergarten, but now kindergarten's changed.
Right.
So anyway, thanks.
Well, thank you.
All right.
Appreciate it. Okay, like I said, we've got our schedule here, so I think that's everything for public speak. Speak up if I've missed you. If not, I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn and switch over to our other meeting.
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Thanks, Louise. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Thanks, Liz. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right. Thank you very much. Let's shut the recording down.